Greetings and welcome to my channeling of the day. Today's topic is going to be on how people guard and protect themselves. So I will close my eyes, connect with the source, and then I'll begin. Greetings. We welcome you in love and light. We are going to talk on the topic of self-protection. How people guard themselves, what works, what doesn't work, why people feel a need to do it, and why many people do not. Guarding themselves is done both, shall we say, using body language as well as energetically. Most people are familiar with this. That's a form of self-protection. One guards oneself. It's also done if one crosses one's legs and folds one's arms together. I've found that many people, through observing incarnate life, also tend to cover their genitalia. That makes them feel safer. But these are physical ways, behaviorally observable, postural ways of guarding themselves. Why people feel a need to protect themselves if they feel vulnerable, they feel exposed. There's a wide variety. Some people are just not particularly confident. So by protecting themselves, it makes them feel more secure in their daily activities or in their interactions. If something is going on and people are afraid of the interaction, there's a degree of intimacy that's being involved that they're not comfortable with, then they protect themselves. And these are all behavioral ways of doing it that can be observed. Now, the more potent way, the more common way that people try to protect themselves is energetically. And the vast majority of individuals, they can sense that the other is in a self-protection mode, but odds are they won't be able to really put their finger on it. Some energy-sensitive people, such as the one through whom I'm speaking, can see and can pick up and can describe in fairly great detail exactly how the person is protecting themselves. It could be a matter of closing one or several of the energy centers in the body. A guarded heart is quite common, but out in the world, the third chakra, that's the chakra that deals with energy going out from the person to the world and energy coming into the person from the world. That very often is closed. That's the primary way to guard. Ideally, it's done consciously in situations which can be potentially threatening or disturbing, such as a large crowd or with angry people or in a potentially threatening situation, physically threatening. Then you guard yourselves by closing the chakra. People don't really feel your energy, and that makes you semi-invisible. Just as an interesting story, we'll have this one tell it afterwards, but he has actually made himself invisible under certain circumstances. But we'll let him tell that. Not really invisible, but we'll let him say. But what happens is everybody has an energy field around them. It's demonstrable, it's measurable, there's all kinds of instruments that can measure it. And when people feel threatened, feel scared, they pull their energy in, close to their body. When people are relaxed and open, their energy expands. And depending upon how evolved the person is, it can actually expand several feet. If the person is chronically not wishing to be open, not wishing to be vulnerable, they may always hold their energy field very tight in. It could be as close as 6 inches. For some individuals, particularly those who are like that, when they're in a threatening situation, it's almost touching their skin. Their energy is pulled back so much. And what happens is, when you pull back your energy like that, it becomes very, very hard for another person's energy to get in, because when it's open and expansive, think of it as molecules, the same number of molecules. Molecules are looser, farther apart. Energy can stream in through the openings. When it's pulled in really tight, this is just an example, of course, the molecules are much more dense, and therefore it's much, much harder to get in. Yeah, it can be done. You can force your way in, but under normal circumstances, the person feels somewhat protected, at least. So the reason why people feel a need to guard themselves is that some individuals never really carry that sense of trust, that sense of faith that they'll be protected, they'll be okay. Therefore, they tend to attract situations that are not so favorable, and therefore have a need to guard themselves. Now, if you ask this individual, why are you always so guarded? They say, well, look what happened. Yesterday, this happened here, and this happened there, and that happened there. Of course, I always have to protect myself. People who carry these beliefs, it gets reified. In other words, reinforced. The beliefs create the situations, and the situations reinforce the beliefs. People who have opposing beliefs that the world is benevolent, the world is benign, tend to attract situations that are like that, and very rarely encounter a need to protect themselves. So they don't really cover themselves up with energy shields. They don't protect themselves because they don't need to. And a last thing, there are ways of protecting oneself just from daily activities, and then some people feel the need to protect themselves against psychic attacks. Not a lot of people really experience psychic attacks, but some people do. If there's someone who really hates you and they're constantly sending negative energy toward you, or in the rare instance, somebody actually does some magic on you, or things like that, then you can protect yourself by putting a shield, white light all around your body, because dark energies can't penetrate a strong white light field. You can connect with your concept of the divine, be it directly with God, be it with Christ energy, or with any number of other divinities that you particularly believe in. It all works. Or the simplest is just to say, no, it cannot. And in a sense, you program your subconscious, so your subconscious does it for you and doesn't let it in. Well, I hope this topic of protection and guarding and shielding was of interest to you. So I will step out and let this one tell his interesting little story. In the name of the love and the light of the Creator, I depart. Okay, well, they told I have to tell my story, so I guess I'll tell my story. I have this pattern where in certain situations I pull my energy in a way that it's not guarded, but it just doesn't express itself through my third chakra, and people just don't realize that I'm there. I have on numerous occasions walked into office buildings where you have to sign in. I walk right past the guard, go right to the elevator, and I realized I just entered the building without going through the regular security protocols. I've done that inadvertently sometimes when there's special situations on the subway where I don't go through the turnstile, I go through another thing, and before I know it, I'm on the train. It's like, what just happened? And I remember once I walked by like 40 transit employees, and there had to be at least 20, 25 police. And I had a token in my hand, and I didn't want to put it in the regular boxes. I wanted to put it in the token machine, the regular slot. And I walked onto the platform and ended up on the train, still holding the token. And it's like, shit, what did I just do? And a couple times I was walking with friends. This is in the bad old days in New York. This doesn't happen anymore, really. And some guys came up to mug the friend I was with, and they started harassing him. And I was standing right next to him, but I altered my energy shield. They didn't even see me. And he was ultimately okay. But it's weird the way this happens. Anyway, they said I would have to tell the story, so I did. It's over. So my name is Barry. I'm a professional spiritual intuitive. I do readings. I do, of course, psychotherapy with individuals, couples. I'm a New York State licensed psychotherapist. I have a webpage called Birthright Therapy. If you want to write me directly, you can write me at barry@birthrighttherapy.com, or feel free to put a comment in the comment section if you're seeing this on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you can send me a message. And if you like what you're here on YouTube, then please do subscribe. And if you want to be notified when new postings will occur, then hit the button and you'll be notified. It's a little bell button right next to subscribe. So, until the next time, I thank you, and I shall depart.